What if I told you there's a revolver so powerful it can drop a grizzly bear at 200 yards, or one that literally fires rifle ammunition designed for taking down vehicles? Throughout history, certain revolvers have pushed the boundaries of what's possible in a handgun. Today we're counting down the 20 most lethal and fierce wheel guns ever created, from the Colt that tamed the Wild West to a modern hand cannon that generates 3,000 foot-pounds of energy. You'll discover the Confederate revolver that hit a shotgun surprise, the Russian monster chambered in .50 caliber, and yes, Dirty Harry's legendary Model 29. Some of these changed history, others are changing the game right now. And our number one, it's the undisputed king of revolver power, a gun so violent that ranges have special rules just to contain its destruction. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're exploring the history, engineering, and reputation of these legendary firearms. Always handle firearms responsibly, legally, and with proper training. These revolvers demand respect, and so does firearm safety. Number 20. Diamondback SDR. They built AR-15s and polymer pistols, then Diamondback shocked everyone by building one of the best revolvers of the decade. The Diamondback SDR self-defense revolver burst onto the scene in 2024 from the United States, proving that modern manufacturing can create instant classics. This 6-shot .357 Magnum combines aggressive angular styling with old-school stopping power. Available with 2-inch or 3-inch barrels, the SDR features a push-button cylinder release borrowed from Kimber, a rebated cylinder design from Ruger, and uniquely fluted chambers that look like something from a sci-fi movie. The stainless steel construction comes in high polish or tactical black nitride finishes. But here's what makes it fierce: the trigger. Reviewers consistently praise the SDR's double-action pull as one of the smoothest ever produced. In a defensive situation, that buttery trigger means faster, more accurate shots with milliseconds count. Why does it deserve this list? Because Diamondback proved that innovation in revolvers isn't dead. They took the best features from legendary wheel guns, added modern manufacturing precision, and created something that shoots as good as it looks. The SDR shows that fierce revolvers aren't just relics of the past, they're being built right now, ready to defend lives today. Number 19. Colt 1860 Army. Picture this: Gettysburg 1863. The smoke clears, the Union cavalry charges with revolvers blazing. That's the Colt 1860 Army in action. This .44 caliber cap and ball revolver from the United States became the primary sidearm of the Union Army during the Civil War. With its 8-inch barrel and 6-shot cylinder, it weighed about 2.7 pounds, perfectly balanced for mounted combat. Over 200,000 were produced, and everyone from Wild Bill Hickok to Confederate soldiers who captured them knew their worth. The .44 ball it fired could drop a man or horse with equal authority at 50 yards. Soldiers often carried 2 or 3, giving them 12 to 18 shots in an era of single-shot muskets. Why is it fierce? Because in the brutal cavalry charges of the Civil War, when sabers clashed and men fought at point-blank range, the Colt 1860 Army meant the difference between victory and death. Confederate soldiers would risk their lives to capture one. This revolver didn't just fight a war, it helped win one. Number 18. Webley-Fosbery Automatic Revolver. Imagine a revolver that cocks itself after every shot. Sounds impossible? Not for the British in 1901. The Webley-Fosbery automatic revolver from the United Kingdom is perhaps the strangest wheel gun ever mass-produced. This .455 caliber beast used its own recoil to slide the entire barrel and cylinder assembly back, automatically rotating the cylinder and cocking the hammer for the next shot. With a 6-inch barrel and that distinctive zigzag cylinder groove, it offered semi-automatic rate of fire with revolver reliability. British officers and competitive shooters loved its butter-smooth single-action trigger for every shot. Some saw combat in World War I, though mud proved to be its enemy. It even became the murder weapon in the Maltese Falcon, giving it noir credibility to match its mechanical ingenuity. What made it lethal? 6 rounds of man-stopping .455 Webley as fast as you could pull the trigger. No heavy double-action pull to throw off your aim, just point, shoot, and watch the gun ready itself for the next shot. The Webley-Fosbery was ahead of its time, a revolver on steroids that dared to break every rule. Number 17. Chiappa Rhino. What if I told you there's a modern revolver that fires from the bottom of the cylinder? Meet Italy's Chiappa Rhino, the .357 Magnum that rewrote the rules in 2010. By aligning the barrel with the bottom chamber instead of the top, the Rhino sends recoil straight back into your hand rather than flipping the muzzle skyward. The result? You can dump 6 rounds of .357 Magnum on target faster than most people can fire 2 from a traditional revolver. This angular, almost alien-looking wheel gun has been featured in films like Looper and gained a cult following among competitive shooters. Its aluminum frame keeps weight down, while that unique firing position means even smaller shooters can handle full-power Magnum loads. Is it the most powerful? No, but it might be the most controllable, powerful revolver ever made. Videos show Rhino shooters hammering targets with machine gun speed while maintaining deadly accuracy. The Chiappa Rhino proves that after 200 years of revolver evolution, there's still room for revolution. Number 16. Nagant M1895. In Soviet Russia, even the revolvers keep secrets. The Nagant M1895, designed in Belgium but produced by the millions in Russia, served from 1895 through World War II and beyond. This 7-shot revolver had one unique trick. When you cocked the hammer, the cylinder moved forward to create a gas seal with the barrel. This meant two things that no other mass-produced revolver could claim: slightly higher velocity and the ability to be effectively suppressed. Soviet agents could eliminate targets silently, something impossible with any other revolver. Chambered in 7.62 by 38mm, it wasn't the most powerful round, but power isn't everything when you're executing enemies of the state at point-blank range. The NKVD secret police made this revolver infamous during Stalin's purges. Millions of Nagants armed everyone from Tsarist cavalry to Soviet commissars who wouldn't hesitate to use them on retreating troops or captured enemies. Why is it fierce? Because this revolver has probably executed more people than any other handgun in history. From the frozen trenches of World War I to the brutal street fighting of Stalingrad, the Nagant M1895 delivered cold mechanical death. Sometimes the quietest guns speak the loudest. Number 15. Colt New Service M1917. When America entered World War I, we had more soldiers than pistols. Enter the emergency solution that became a legend. The Colt New Service M1917 was Colt's large-frame revolver modified to fire 45 ACP ammunition using half-moon clips. With a 5.5-inch barrel and that massive 45 bore, it served as a substitute for the M1911 pistol. But this was no second-rate replacement. Doughboys in the trenches found it supremely reliable in mud and blood. It served again in World War II, and Vietnam tunnel rats specifically requested these revolvers for the dependability in confined spaces. The M1917 fired the same devastating 45 ACP round as the 1911, a 230-grain slug that hit like a sledgehammer. In trench warfare, one shot could stop a charging enemy soldier instantly. What made it fierce wasn't just the stopping power, it was the sheer durability. You could press it against an enemy's chest and fire without worrying about a slide jamming. When empty, its solid steel frame made an effective club. The Colt M1917 proved that sometimes the old ways work best, even in modern warfare. Number 14. Lamat Grape Shot Revolver. 9 shots weren't enough for the Confederacy, so they added a shotgun. The Lamat revolver, designed in New Orleans and manufactured in Europe, was the Civil War's most devastating close combat handgun. This French-Belgian hybrid packed 9 .42 caliber chambers around a central 20-gauge shotgun barrel. Confederate generals like J.E.B. Stuart and P.G.T. Beauregard carried these 4-pound monsters. After firing 9 rounds, 50% more than a standard Colt, you could flip the hammer nose down and unleash a blast of buckshot that could clear a room or destroy a cavalry charge. Only about 2,900 were made, smuggled through Union blockades, making them prized possessions for Confederate officers. Imagine facing an enemy who should be out of ammunition after 6 shots, only to receive 3 more rounds followed by a face full of buckshot. That psychological edge was devastating. The Lamat was part revolver, part shotgun, all terror. It remains one of the wildest and most lethal revolver designs ever fielded in combat. Number 13. Smith & Wesson Registered Magnum. The year is 1935. Bank robbers armor their cars. Police bullets bounce off. Something had to change. Enter the Smith & Wesson Registered Magnum, the world's first .357 Magnum revolver. Each one was custom built to order with the buyer's choice of barrel length, sights, and grips. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover got serial number 1. Texas Rangers ordered them. They cost as much as a car during the Great Depression, but law enforcement needed that edge. The .357 Magnum cartridge was revolutionary, a 158-grain bullet screaming at 1,500+ feet per second, doubling the power of standard police revolvers. It could penetrate car doors, engine blocks, and the new ballistic vests criminals were starting to wear. This wasn't just more power, it was a quantum leap. The Registered Magnum created the entire category of Magnum revolvers. Every big-bore wheelgun since owes its existence to this Smith & Wesson. Before 1935, revolvers were just revolvers. After the Registered Magnum, they were potential hand cannons. Number 12. Taurus Raging Bull. What happens when you make .454 Casull power affordable? You create a monster for the masses. Brazil's Taurus shocked the revolver world in 1997 with the Raging Bull, a double-action .454 Casull that cost half what competitors charged. Suddenly, average shooters could afford super magnum power. With its distinctive dual-cylinder lock system, ported barrel, and cushioned grips, the Raging Bull tames a cartridge that generates over 1,600 foot-pounds of energy. That's enough to stop a charging hog, a maddened bear, or anything else that threatens you. The muzzle blast is so intense that indoor ranges often ban them. Fire one at dusk and the flame extends just 2 feet from the barrel. The concussion feels like a small explosion. But here's what makes it fierce. It's a working man's elephant gun. Hunters from Alaska to Africa have used raging bulls to take dangerous game. Some versions even fire 410 shotgun shells for versatility. The Taurus Raging Bull democratized devastating power. It lives up to its name with every earth-shaking shot. Number 11. Freedom Arms Model 83. Before anyone else dared, one company asked, what if we made a revolver even more powerful than the .44 Magnum? Freedom Arms answered with the Model 83 and .454 Casull, the world's first Super Magnum production revolver in 1983. Built in Wyoming like a Swiss watch from heat-treated stainless steel, this 5-shot single-action revolver redefined what handguns could do. The .454 Casull cartridge launches 300-grain bullets at 1,600 feet per second, generating up to 1,800 foot-pounds of energy, double what .44 Magnums produce. Groups of 2-inch at 100 yards are common. Hunters have taken everything from deer to Cape buffalo with Model 83s. The cylinder is unfluted solid steel to contain the massive pressures. Dick Casull himself, inventor of the cartridge, co-founded Freedom Arms to build this dream gun. The result was a revolver that could match rifle performance at handgun ranges. The recoil is ferocious, the price is steep, but in the right hands, the Freedom Arms Model 83 is the ultimate expression of revolver power, a handgun that expanded the realm of what's possible. Quick pause if you're enjoying the video, tap that like button and hit subscribe. It really helps us reach more great folks like you. Alright, back to it. Number 10. Colt Python. Not every fierce revolver needs maximum power. Sometimes perfection is more lethal than raw force. The Colt Python, introduced in 1955, earned its reputation as the Rolls-Royce of revolvers. This .357 Magnum featured hand-fitted parts, a mirror-polished royal blue finish, and the smoothest trigger ever put in a production wheel gun. Elite police units carried them as status symbols. Competition shooters set records with them. Rick Grimes used one to survive the zombie apocalypse in The Walking Dead. The Python's bank vault cylinder lockup and precision bored barrel delivered accuracy that seemed supernatural. In the 1970s, cops carrying Pythons had a genuine edge in gunfights. They could place shots exactly where needed under pressure. What made it fierce? In skilled hands, a Python could deliver 6 rounds of .357 Magnum with surgical precision faster than most fire 3 wild shots. That deep blue finish and unmistakable profile meant business. Colt stopped production in 2005 and prices skyrocketed. They brought it back in 2020 due to massive demand. The Python remains the revolver other revolvers want to be when they grow up. Number 9. Webley MK6. In the mud and blood of World War I trenches, British officers reached for one revolver above all others. The Webley MK6 in .455 caliber was Britain's answer to close combat brutality. With its distinctive top-brake design and automatic ejector, it could be reloaded quickly even with shaking, muddy hands. That massive .455 bullet, 265 grains traveling at just 600 feet per second, might seem slow by modern standards, but it hit like a sledgehammer, earning a reputation as one of history's best man-stoppers. From the Somme to Gallipoli, from World War II to colonial conflicts, the Webley served the British Empire for over 70 years. Soldiers trusted it to drop enemies with one shot when fighting got close and personal. One veteran described the .455's effect. It didn't just stop them, it knocked them down like they'd been hit by a cricket bat. The Webley Mark VI combined British engineering with brutal effectiveness. When your enemy is 3 feet away with a bayonet, you want a revolver that won't just wound, you want one that wins. And Webley delivered. Number 8. Magnum Research BFR. The name says it all, biggest, finest revolver. And brother, they weren't kidding. Magnum Research's BFR from the United States doesn't just push boundaries, it obliterates them. This 5-shot single-action monster chambered over a dozen calibers, including actual rifle cartridges like .45-70 Government, .30-30 Winchester, and .444 Marlin. Think about that, a revolver firing ammunition designed for buffalo rifles. In .45-70, the BFR launches 300-grain bullets at 1,400 feet per second from a handgun. That's 1,500 foot-pounds of energy, enough to hunt literally anything on Earth. Custom versions in 5110 and 500 Bushwhacker push past 3,000 foot-pounds. With barrels up to 10 inches and weighing around 4 pounds, it's not exactly concealed carry, but when you need to stop a charging moose or punch through barriers that would laugh at normal handguns, the BFR delivers. This is the revolver that asks, why choose between a rifle and a handgun? And answers, don't. The BFR blurs the line between sidearm and artillery. When you pull that trigger, you're not firing a gun, you're launching a guided missile. Number 7. Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan. Sometimes you don't get to choose your fighting distance. In Alaska, that distance might be measured in feet from a 1,000-pound grizzly. Enter the Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan, the .454 Casull survival tool that fits in a chest holster. With just a 2.5-inch barrel, this snub-nosed cannon sacrifices velocity for portability. But when a brown bear is on top of you, you don't need long-range ballistics, you need immediate, devastating power. The 454 Casull cartridge still delivers over 1,200 foot-pounds from that short barrel. The Super Red Hawk's legendary strength, with dual cylinder locks and an extended frame, handles the punishment round after round. In 2009, an Alaskan guide dropped a charging brown bear with 4 shots from his Alaskan 454. The bear died less than 10 feet from where he stood. That's not a gun story, that's a survival story. Ruger built this revolver for one purpose: to be the last line of defense when one of nature's apex predators decided you're on the menu. It's not pretty, it's not comfortable, but when teeth and claws are coming for you, the Super Red Hawk Alaskan is the friend you want on your hip. Number 6. Smith & Wesson Model 460 XVR. Velocity changes everything, and nothing in the revolver world matches the shocking speed of the Model 460 XVR. Smith & Wesson's extreme velocity revolver fires 460 Magnum cartridges that push 200-grain bullets to an insane 2,330 feet per second, the highest of any production revolver on Earth. This isn't just fast, it's rifle fast. With proper optics, hunters drop game beyond 200 yards with this 5-shot cannon. The versatility is incredible too. It also chambers 454 Casull for mid-range power or 45 Colt for practice. Generating over 2,400 foot-pounds of energy, the Model 460 doesn't just hit hard, it hits flat. That screaming velocity means less bullet drop, easier range estimation, and devastating terminal performance. Alaskan guides carry snub-nosed versions knowing that even with a shorter barrel, the 460 delivers a full ton of energy into charging bears. The Model 460 XVR represents the pinnacle of modern revolver ballistics. It's what happens when engineers ask, how fast can we make a handgun bullet fly? And then prove the answer is faster than you thought possible. Number 5. Colt Walker 1847. Before cartridges, before metallic cases, there was only black powder, lead, and the will to survive. And no revolver delivered more of all three than the Colt Walker. In 1847, Captain Samuel Walker asked Sam Colt for a revolver, powerful enough to kill a man or horse with one shot. Colt delivered a 4.5-pound monster with a 9-inch barrel that held more black powder than revolvers made 90 years later. Each chamber packed 60 grains of powder, double what other revolvers used. The 44 caliber ball hit with 500 foot-pounds of energy, matching modern .357 Magnums using 1840s technology. Only 1,100 were made for the U.S. Mounted Rifles and Texas Rangers fighting in the Mexican-American War. Only 1,100 were made for the U.S. Mounted Rifles and Texas Rangers fighting in the Mexican-American War. Rangers reported dropping enemies at distances that seemed impossible for a handgun. The Walker was so powerful that cylinders sometimes exploded from the massive charges, but in trained hands, it was the most devastating handgun on Earth for almost a century. This was the first revolver that hit harder than many rifles of its day. The Colt Walker didn't just make history, it made enemies history. Number 4. Russian RSH-12 Assault Revolver. Leave it to Russia to look at a 50 caliber rifle cartridge and think, let's make this a handgun. The RSH-12 Assault Revolver, in service since 2014 with Russian Special Forces, doesn't follow rules, it breaks them. This 5-shot monster fires a 12.7 by 55mm cartridge, originally designed for the Shack-12 assault rifle. This revolver fires rifle ammunition. With a folding stock and optics, it's designed for urban warfare where you need to breach doors, defeat body armor, or stop vehicles. The bottom cylinder firing design borrowed from the Chiappa Rhino helps control the volcanic recoil. Available loads include armor-piercing and explosive rounds. One variant fires a lightweight aluminum bullet at velocities that potentially make it the fastest gun ever created. The RSH-12 isn't just powerful, it's a handheld anti-material weapon. When Russian Special Forces need to absolutely positively destroy whatever's in front of them, they reach for this beast. It's a revolver that brings battlefield firepower to a gunfight. The very existence of the RSH-12 proves that in the quest for ultimate stopping power, the limits keep getting pushed to the extreme. Number 3. Smith & Wesson Model 29. I know what you're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, I tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I kinda lost track myself. Those words from Dirty Harry Callahan made the Smith & Wesson Model 29 the most famous revolver on Earth. Introduced in 1955, the Model 29 and 44 Magnum was the world's most powerful handgun for nearly 3 decades. The 44 Magnum cartridge delivered up to 1,100 foot-pounds of energy, enough to punch through car doors and engine blocks. But it wasn't until 1971, when Clint Eastwood wielded one on screen, that the Model 29 became legend. Overnight, demand exploded. Gun stores couldn't keep them in stock for years. Police found it too powerful for urban use, but hunters embraced it for taking deer, boar, and even bear. The massive recoil, deafening blast, and 2-foot muzzle flash made it clear this wasn't a gun, it was controlled destruction. The Model 29 created an entire culture around Magnum revolvers. It proved that Hollywood could make a gun iconic, and that sometimes you really do need to ask yourself one question: do you feel lucky? Number 2. Colt Single Action Army Peacemaker. God created men, Sam Colt made them equal. No revolver has shaped history like the Colt Single Action Army, the gun that won the West. Adopted by the U.S. Army in 1873, this .45 Colt 6-shooter armed everyone from cavalry soldiers to outlaws, from Wyatt Earp to Buffalo Bill. Through the Indian Wars, the Spanish-American War, and even World War I, the Peacemaker stood as America's sidearm. The .45 Colt cartridge was devastating for its era, a 250-grain bullet with more stopping power than anything else available. Cowboys said one shot could drop a man or a horse with equal authority. Over 350,000 were made in the first generation alone. It's been in continuous demand for 150 years, with Colt repeatedly reviving production because Americans won't let this legend die. The Peacemaker didn't just participate in the Wild West, it created it. Every showdown at high noon, every cavalry charge, every frontier lawman reaching for his holster, this was the gun that settled scores and settled the frontier. The Colt Single Action Army remains the most important revolver ever made. It's not just a gun, it's American history cast in steel and walnut. Number 1. Smith & Wesson Model 500. Here it is, the king, the beast, the hand cannon that redefined what's possible. The Smith & Wesson Model 500 fires the 500 S&W Magnum, the most powerful production handgun cartridge in the world. Launched in 2003, this 5-shot X-frame revolver generates over 3,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. That's not a handgun, that's handheld artillery. A 350-grain bullet leaves the barrel at nearly 2,000 feet per second, delivering twice the power of a .44 Magnum. Hunters have taken every dangerous game animal on Earth with the Model 500. It can ethically drop an elk at 200 yards with a handgun. The recoil is so violent that shooters have broken noses and knocked themselves unconscious. The muzzle blast can damage hearing through ear protection. But here's what makes it number 1. The Model 500 proved there's no limit to revolver power. When everyone said handguns had reached their maximum potential, Smith & Wesson said, "Hold my beer," and created a revolver that hits harder than some rifles. YouTube is filled with videos of people getting knocked on their backs by the Model 500's recoil. Shooting ranges have special rules for it. Some indoor ranges ban it entirely because the concussion damages their facilities. This isn't the most powerful revolver in production, it's a statement, a 5-pound declaration that says revolver technology isn't finished evolving. When you squeeze the trigger on a Smith & Wesson Model 500, you're not just firing a gun, you're unleashing controlled chaos. You're making thunder. You're holding the king of revolvers. From black powder legends to modern cannons, these 20 revolvers prove the wheel gun isn't dead, it's fiercer than ever. Which one would you trust your life to, or did I miss a revolver that deserves this list? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe to Guns You Can't Live Without for more firearms history. These revolvers made history with a bang.